Chloe Peterson says, sources confirmed to me, Caitlin Clark suffered a very mild bone bruise in her left ankle on August the 7th. So Caitlin Clark basically got hurt again. How did she get hurt again? I don't know. It's definitely looking hella spooky right now, because if Caitlin was hurt and supposed to have been not doing certain things, how do the Fever organization allow her to get hurt again?
Yo, this is rough, really rough. For Indiana Fever fans, it feels like a punch to the gut, you know, another injury, another massive setback. It's tough to see a legend like Caitlin Clark just stuck on the sidelines facing endless injury reports with no end in sight. And look, it's not just missing a few games anymore, it's about a whole season slipping away. It feels like we're watching the most exciting player the WNBA has ever seen just get picked apart, piece by piece.
What were the odds that the Indiana Fever would miss the playoffs prior to this season taking place? Just a there's so much fishiness going on in this league, and you just sniff around a little bit, you can tell. What is the payout for somebody who bet, oh, the Indiana Fever with Caitlin Clark, with a new head coach, with all these new additions? What's the payout if they just, surprise, miss the playoffs? Indiana Fever reporters, beat writers, pawns, whatever you want to call them, they are suddenly reporting an August 7th ankle injury.
And the numbers, man, they're just brutal. Clark has already missed 22 games this season. Think about that, 22. That's more time off the court than some players see in their entire careers. It's just wild to even process.
None of this stuff, like, why tell us now? None of this stuff is just, it's not making sense, man. I mean, this organization, man, it's being run like a mom and pop shop, bro. Like, God, like, what is going on? What is going on, man? I mean, it's ridiculous at this point. It's just flat out, it's absurd. I don't even, nobody knows what's going on. Everybody's liars. We can't get the truth about anything. There's a video of Caitlin Clark trying to jog. She looks awful just trying to trot. I mean, I don't know what's going on. This is terrible. I told y'all, bro, it's a wrap. I don't want to say it's a wrap. I told y'all she's done for the season. It's a wrap.
Here's the thing. This is the woman who never missed a single game in 4 years at Iowa. She played every single contest in her rookie WNBA season too. Now, she's collecting injuries like they're trading cards. A left quad, a left groin, then a right groin. And get this, a bone bruise in her left ankle, all while she was trying to rehab from the other stuff. It's like watching a masterpiece get messed up right before your eyes.
Until yesterday, we knew about the quad injury earlier this summer. We knew about the groin injury that's kept her sidelined damn near the entire season. Now we are being told that Caitlin Clark suffered a bone bruise in her ankle during a workout 2 weeks ago. This poor girl is falling apart in her early 20s. Part of me understands the push to get Caitlin Clark back on the court. The Indiana Felines are barely hanging on to their playoff spot.
But real talk, what we're seeing here, it's not just bad luck. It feels systematic, almost calculated. It's like the WNBA has just sat there, watching their biggest star get carved up, game after game, and done absolutely nothing about it. Remember how Clark's 2025 season started? So much promise. The Fever built a championship caliber team around her. Fans had their calendars marked, season tickets bought, dreams were brewing. Then reality just crashed the party, you know?
Because Caitlin Clark is the most covered player the WNBA has ever seen. So if she had an injury or tweak something or hurt something almost 2 weeks ago, you probably think we would have heard about it by now, right? Right. Scott Agnes reports Fever All-Star guard Caitlin Clark tweaked her left ankle during a workout in Phoenix, league sources told Fieldhouse Files. Chloe Peterson confirms this. Sources confirm to me that Caitlin Clark suffered a very mild bone bruise in her left ankle. A tweak, bone bruise, forget it.
So, the first domino falls with that left quad strain, sidelines her for 5 games. But Clark, being Clark, she bounces back, drops 32 points on the defending champ Liberty. For a minute, it felt like the basketball gods were smiling on us again. But nah, that smile was a cruel joke. The left groin injury hits next, taking 4 more games away from fans who just wanted to watch her play. And when she finally did return, she just wasn't the same. 12 and 5 points on 31% shooting over 4 games. That spark was dimmed. The magic felt muted.
The Caitlin Clark injury situation is officially a mess because not only is there not more clarity, there's more confusion about what her timeline could be. And that's coming on the heels of it seeming to be pretty clear when Clark would return to the court, or about when she would return to the court. It was said on the ESPN broadcast on August 12th that Stephanie White hoped Clark would be back in practice this week. Open portion of practice, Clark is not seen. And Stephanie White afterwards said it's status quo until Clark is back at practice. Well, what changed? Right? I know there's never been a direct timeline, but all the signs seem to point in the direction of Clark returning soon.
And then came the knockout punch. That right groin injury on July 15th against Connecticut, that's kept her off the court for 13 straight games and counting. But wait, there's more, because apparently, the basketball gods have a twisted sense of humor. While trying to rehab that groin, Clark tweaks her left ankle during a workout on August 7th. Very mild bone bruise, they said. Won't affect her timeline, they said. But here's the thing about injuries, especially when you're dealing with this many. They don't just happen in isolation. They pile up, they compound, they create this house of cards that keeps tumbling down.
And we have no idea when Caitlin Clark is coming back or if she is coming back at all. Every time that they get asked, they just say TBD. We have no idea what's going on, which is, in my opinion, quite suspicious. You kind of know what is going to happen with an injury. The doctors can give you an estimate. The player can tell you, you know, I'm not really feeling that great. I don't expect to be coming back, but she has been practicing with the team. Maybe she's going to come back for the playoffs and help them get that championship, or at least try to get the championship.
Here's where it gets absolutely infuriating, folks. This didn't just happen out of nowhere. This wasn't some freak accident or just bad luck. This was the inevitable result of a league that encouraged its players to treat Caitlin Clark like a tackling dummy wearing a basketball uniform. Remember the cheap shots, the eye pokes, the blindside shoves that knocked her to the ground while officials just stood there, doing nothing? Marina Mabrey shoving Clark to the floor, only upgraded to a flagrant 2 after the game. JC Sheldon going for her eye. Player after player taking their best shot at the league's biggest star, knowing full well the refs would either look away or slap them with some meaningless text.
Yeah, it's crazy. They can't see all of these fouls and flagrants that's happening, especially when it comes to our precious CC, Caitlin Clark, at the end of the day, but they have time to pay attention to your podcast and finding you. You know what I'm saying? Because of you calling them out on their mess. You know what I'm saying? We don't care about them jive turkeys like they would say in the 70s. At the end of the day, keep it to yourself. Even if you did know when Caitlin Clark, aka my precious and our precious CC, was coming back, which we know she's not coming back. She's out for the rest of the season. She needs to stay out for the rest of the season because of this organization in the WNBA is a whole catastrophe.
Lisa Bluter, Clark's old coach at Iowa, she saw this coming from a mile away, man. She called for rule changes, for fines that would actually hurt, for ejections when players crossed the line. But the WNBA, they were too busy counting all the money Clark was bringing in to actually protect her. They let the physical play escalate. They allowed the targeting. They watched their golden goose get beaten down game after game, and they did nothing. And now they're dealing with the consequences of their negligence. The player who single-handedly elevated their league to new heights is stuck on the sideline, watching her sophomore season just slip away while officials keep pretending this is all just coincidence. The cruel irony is impossible to ignore. Clark, who never missed a game in her entire basketball career until this season, has now missed 60% of the 2025 campaign. The woman who turned every arena into a sold-out spectacle, who made fans pay $670 just to breathe the same air as her greatness, is now reduced to Instagram stories and practice updates that never come. Coach Stephanie White keeps giving the same non-answers. Until she can get into practice, until you see her in practice, it's really status quo. Translation: they have no idea when or if she's coming back. The regular season ends September 9th, playoffs start September 14th. With each passing day, that window just keeps closing a little more.
I can't stand Stephanie White because she keeps covering up and doing lies, and I find her very deceiving, and she lacks integrity. She don't tell the truth. Remember, she covered for Dewana Bonner, saying she had personal reasons and didn't tell the truth about it. And then she lied about Caitlin Clark's injury, where it was a lot severe than it was, but she said day to day, kept stringing a carrot. And then once again, she lied again and didn't say a word about her being hurt, getting her ankle hurt. What's up with this team being like very deceiving and not telling the truth and not like being transparent with the fans? Like, people love Caitlin Clark. They want to know what's going on. They're worried about her groin injury. Is she getting better? Is she not? You know, we're all thinking, oh, she might be coming back soon.
To their credit, the Fever have actually managed to stay afloat without their superstar, going 10-9 in games. Clark has missed, but let's be real, they built this team to win a championship, not just to survive without their best player. They're currently sitting in 6th place at 19-16, holding on to a playoff spot by their fingernails, while watching those championship dreams just evaporate with each. Clark-less game. And the injuries keep piling up around her too, right? Sydney Colson, torn ACL. Ari McDonald, broken foot. Sophie Cunningham, torn MCL. It's like the basketball gods decided to punish the entire franchise for daring to build something special around their transcendent talent. Indiana Fever fans aren't just disappointed, they're furious, and rightfully so. They invested in season tickets, they planned their schedules around these games, they believed in a championship run. Instead, they're watching their team's medical staff give updates that sound more like hostage negotiations than injury reports. The frustration is palpable on social media. Fans are calling for the Fever to shut Clark down for the season, rather than risk further injury. Others are demanding investigations into the league's officiating and player safety protocols. Some are even questioning whether the WNBA and the Fever are being transparent enough about the severity of Clark's injuries. Sophie Cunningham, Clark's teammate who's now also done for the season, defended the organization against conspiracy theories, but her words ring hollow when you're dealing with this level of systematic failure. When your star player goes from never missing a game to missing more than half a season, something is fundamentally broken.
She is an engine, but she suffered 3 lower leg injuries, and now we're talking about Caitlin Clark suffering a minor leg injury as well in practice, which has affected her shot while she was trying to play through her injuries, affected her shooting for her long distance, her jumping, her elevation. We all know what happens when you aren't right as a guard and you have to get lift and you have to score, you have to push off on your legs and your foot. You do not want to risk Caitlin Clark coming back and her suffering serious injury that may prolong her being out for even longer. That's not what you want to do. We've seen it happen to Kevin Durant. When he came back, he had a calf strain. We've seen it happen to...
Look, the league finds itself in an impossible position right now. Their biggest draw, their most marketable star, their ticket to mainstream relevance is just collecting dust on the bench. The same player who packed arenas to the rafters and sent TV ratings through the roof is now a huge question mark with no answers. Meanwhile, the WNBA is dealing with other embarrassing situations, sex toys being thrown onto courts, security concerns, and this general sense that the league has lost control of its own narrative. But nothing compares to the Clark situation. This isn't just about one player or one team. This is about the league's inability to protect its most valuable asset. Commissioner Kathy Engelbert talks about player safety task forces. But where was that task force when Clark was getting cheap-shotted game after game? Where were the suspensions? Where were the meaningful fines? Where was the protection for a player who was literally saving their league from obscurity?
The storylines in the WNBA dump have been non-existent since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have been injured. Now with Sophie Cunningham out for the season, there are literally no stars in the WNBA. It would not surprise me if the Indiana Felines were being pressured by either the WNBA Players Union or the league itself. Hell, maybe both. It wouldn't surprise me if the Felines were being pressured to get the Root from Waterloo back on the court. But like I've been telling you guys for weeks, Caitlin Clark is not coming back this season.
The harsh reality is really setting in now. Clark might not play another minute this season. That bone bruise in her ankle, even if it's mild, happened while she was rehabbing other injuries. Her groin still isn't healed enough for her to even practice. Time is just running out and hope is fading fast. WNBA analyst Rachel Demita made a bold prediction. One a lot of fans are thinking, but nobody wants to say out loud, "I don't think Caitlin Clark is coming back." Those words, man. They hit like a sledgehammer to the chest for every fan who's been holding on to hope. The woman who was supposed to be the face of the WNBA's new era, the player who was going to lead Indiana to their first championship in decades, is now fighting just to get back on a practice court. It's heartbreaking. It's infuriating. It's the kind of sports tragedy that makes you just wonder if karma even exists.
This is the last thing that I'll say about that podcast interview. As Sophie did mention, she talked about Caitlin Clark briefly and her recovery, and she basically just said, like, it is a day-to-day thing. Caitlin doesn't even know when she will be back, so she didn't really give any more information than that. But I think a lot of fans are speculating, will Caitlin Clark be back? Because Sophie is now out for the season, will the Indiana Fever risk it by bringing Caitlin Clark back? If Sophie is out, do the Fever even have a chance in the playoffs? Why would you bring Caitlin Clark back? Should you bring Caitlin Clark back? Will she be practicing this week? They have a tough stretch of games. Are they going to bring her back against a team like the Minnesota Lynx? We just don't know. And I, like I've said in the past few videos, I don't think Caitlin Clark is coming back.
These injuries could have been avoided if the WNBA had just done their job. If they had protected their stars instead of letting them get mauled. If they had called fouls instead of looking the other way. If they had prioritized player safety over letting them play. But they didn't. They let Caitlin Clark become a punching bag for frustrated veterans and dirty players who couldn't match her talent. They allowed a culture of targeting and cheap shots to flourish, while their biggest star absorbed hit after hit, and now they're dealing with the consequences. The saddest part, this isn't just about one season. This is about a career trajectory that's been derailed by pure league incompetence. Clark was supposed to be entering her prime, building on her historic rookie campaign, leading the charge for women's basketball's mainstream breakthrough. Instead, she's learning what it's like to be fragile, to be vulnerable, to be human.
Is that something you and the medical staff just kind of reiterate with her? Just, hey, it's okay, take your time, there's a big picture we got to think about here?
Yeah, and I think just the experience throughout the year, trying to come back and come back quickly, has also taught her, that she needs to make sure that she's 100%. And yes, every competitor wants to play. But at the same time, doing it the right way and making sure after we've had a couple of setbacks that we're prioritizing her long-term health and wellness is the most important thing.
Warm up. They're now holding their breath every time she steps on a court, if she ever does again this season. The media that turned her into a household name, they're now writing injury updates instead of highlight reels. The WNBA that she single-handedly dragged into the spotlight, they're scrambling to figure out what to do without their biggest star. Caitlin Clark didn't just face a new setback with a new injury. She became the victim of a systematic failure by a league that forgot the most basic rule of business: protect your investments. And now, as the 2025 season slips away and championship dreams crumble, we're left wondering if we'll ever see the same explosive, game-changing Caitlin Clark who took the basketball world by storm. The countdown clock is ticking, the playoffs are approaching, wrong, and the WNBA's golden goose remains stuck in the trainer's room, a casualty of their own negligence. It's not just a setback, man. It's a full-blown catastrophe. And the worst part, it was entirely preventable.